Once you see these two together, you know what it's all about. We're here to talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So let's get on with this review video. Hey, it's CJ! That's me, CJ the Lego guy. Hey everyone, CJ here, hope you're all doing well. With Deadpool and Wolverine having been released for a couple weeks now, we can finally get to talking about it. But not to worry, if you still haven't seen it and you still haven't seen any spoilers about it, don't worry. I'll give a quick little spoiler-free little review right now in the next couple minutes, and then we'll go into spoilers. So let's get that right out of the way by saying my spoiler-free review is that I definitely love the movie, for sure. There's just so much to like about it, and it's just so great for both casual and hardcore Marvel fans, X-Men fans, and definitely the Fox movie universe as well. And disclaimer, I do understand that there are mixed reviews with this movie, which is completely valid, since I kind of get both sides as well. With some thinking that it's disrespectful to the material it's trying to pay homage to, and then completely a great send-off to everything that came before. And I'm more in the middle, where it's like, I can definitely understand why a lot of people wouldn't like it, but I, for one, am definitely liking it for all the nostalgia that it brings and how it wraps up as much as it could within the time run of the story that it had. But if you want to express your opinions and your thoughts on the movie, please write them down below in the comment section down under the video, and I'll give them a read as well. And do please watch it for yourself, so then that way you can experience the movie too and see how you feel, whether or not you like it or not. I definitely recommend, just for that sense of trying to see which side you'd react to the most. But with that spoiler-free review out of the way, let's get into spoilers by first going over a quick, quote-unquote, quick little recap summary about the plot of the movie. So let's jump right into that. We start off the movie with our good boy Deadpool trying to find the Wolverine variant from Logan as he shows up at the grave expecting to see good old Wolvie back in the shape, but then plot twist, he just finds the remaining adamantium skeleton of Logan and then proceeds to have an opening dance / fight sequence with the TVA. Yeah, the TVA were here. Using all the bones of Logan's adamantium skeleton. And a lot of people are either split on this, thinking that this is cringe in a bad way and then cringe in a good way. But I'm, oddly enough, a little bit too addicted to the sequence because it is really funny. After flashbacking to see why Deadpool is going through this journey of trying to find a place for himself after his relationship with Vanessa is rocky, given that reasoning, Deadpool is given the opportunity to move to the MCU as it will give him purpose, as proposed by this guy from the TVA named Mr. Paradox. But the twist was, which I don't see why you would tell Deadpool, but the plot requires that he tell Deadpool that he can join the MCU, but unfortunately his family has to stay behind in the timeline, which Mr. Paradox has been sent to oversee the eventual destruction of it. But since he's a poopy head, he wants to create a device that'll just instantaneously destroy the universe, which naturally upsets Deadpool. I don't know why he would tell the hero that, but the plot required him to do so. So naturally, Deadpool gets upset and punches him in the nose before taking his TemPad and hopping out, seeing as though the whole thing with anchor beings, which is essentially if an important character dies, the whole universe will be destroyed. So naturally, Deadpool goes to find a new Wolverine to replace the one that he lost, which was Logan from Logan. And so then we jump back to the opening scene, and once that wraps up, we get a montage just before Deadpool decides on bringing the dead Logan into his universe, in which he's hopping universe by universe to see a plethora of Wolverine variants, such as Short King Wolverine, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, the Calverine, which is really cool, Patch, Old Man Logan, the Crucified Logan, among, I'm sure, many others that we don't see on screen. But then he also finds the classic Yellow and Brown Wolverine, who is fighting the Hulk at the same time that Deadpool shows up at this universe, which is crazy and a really great homage to the comic that it comes from. What's also funny is that every time that Deadpool teleports into a new universe, each time he meets a Wolverine variant, they immediately start throwing hands at him and wanting to kill him. It was funny. But then especially when he showed up to the one with the Wolverine versus Hulk, Hulk just immediately just thrashed him and threw him to the side, and he got impaled in the tree, which somehow I didn't notice until the second time I saw it, which made it even funnier when Hulk just thrashed them aside, and Deadpool immediately dipped to the next universe, I mean. After settling on a Wolverine that he deemed to be the best, which is the one with the X-Men suit that we see in the movie, the main one, Deadpool brings him back to the TVA, in which Mr. Paradox drops the bomb plot twist that Deadpool's plan to use a different Wolverine as his anchor point being for his universe isn't gonna work out. So, being upset about this, Deadpool tries to attack, but then Mr. Paradox sends both of them into the void of all time and space, in which this is where we get the fight between Deadpool and Wolverine that was all over the trailers and leaked set photos back in the day, and it was quite fun. Sure, some of the action shots seemed kind of awkward, but it was just super awesome to see. And yeah, definitely super scary when Logan charges at all fours and uses a tornado claw attack. But just them bouncing off of each other, the seriousness and the comedy of their fights throughout the whole movie even, it's just so incredibly good just to see these two characters go at each other with their special moves and stuff. Pretty great fun. Violent, but funny. Then the fight is stopped by, spoiler no spoiler, Chris Evans, who Deadpool is thinking that it's Captain America, but here I was thinking the whole time that it was gonna be Johnny Storm, Human Torch, which I thought it was super funny because I thought the implications was that everyone should have already known that this was gonna be either Human Torch or Captain America. But I thought that Deadpool knew that this was gonna be Johnny Storm, so when he was all like, he's gonna say the thing, Avengers Assemble, I immediately started laughing, being like, no way, he didn't know? He didn't know that was Johnny? I thought that was super incredible. And this is the first of the many incredibly marvelous cameos that we get, just for the lore behind the character, the actor, and just seeing the nostalgia behind our childhood heroes of Marvel coming back onto the screen. For better or worse, depending on how you feel about how the characters were treated, but it's still nevertheless cool that they're back on screen after all this time. Soon enough, that's when all the main villains, enemy grunts, who are just a bunch of variants stranded in the void, come by to kidnap our heroes. And the one that stands out the most is Pyro, who is actually the same variant from the Pyro character from X2, X-Men United, and X-Men The Last Stand, who is also played by the same actor too. And seeing as though he's the leader of this little enemy group, Johnny immediately goes to blast him with fire, but come on, bro. You had it so that the fire guy uses his fire powers on the other fire guy? That was just too funny, my guy. Naturally, Johnny's fire is extinguished, and he is humiliated by just falling from the sky, hitting his groin on the tower thing, and almost looked like he died from the way that he bent back and forth as he fell to the ground after hitting so many things. So yeah, ouch for him. And with the villains using a giant magnet, they also capture the other two, and they head off back to their lair. Another prominent variant of this group before the heroes get captured and taken away is Sabretooth from the first X-Men movie, played by the same actor, and he looks so great. And this was unfortunately spoiled in all of the trailers, so it was hyping up this fight, but plot twist, that was the joke because there is no fight. It's more like a duel, a quick fast duel, since Wolverine immediately dispatches him by beheading him. Quick and easy. Gosh, what a funny little conclusion for the Wolverine Sabretooth rivalry. As my brother mentioned, that is what Logan said he was going to do back in Origins Wolverine. Maybe that's a reference. Maybe not. Once we do get to the enemy base, which is just a husk of a giant man in this void space, we see a whole bunch of variants of iconic Fox movie universe villains such as Psylocke, apparently Blob, the Russian, Azazel, Toad, Lady Deathstrike, Juggernaut, and I'm sure many others that haven't been pointing out yet, like Callisto and stuff. But even though they're wearing the same outfits as their respective movies, they are played by different actors, which brings up the interesting question of why not make them look like different variants. But it's understandable that they want the audience to recognize all these characters as those variants, even though they're played by different actors, which sucks that they couldn't just grab them for like a couple minutes, but it's understandable, why not? But still cool nevertheless. We soon get introduced to our main villain, Cassandra Nova, who is, in some variations of the character, is the twin sister of Charles Xavier. So naturally, she's also a telepath, and she also has other abilities as well. So when she shows up and she does her natural supervillain thing, monologuing, Deadpool then cuts in to say that Johnny was berating her when they're on their way here and saying all these bad stuff about her, which Johnny tries to deny. But with Cassandra Nova being finally annoyed with Johnny, she quickly bursts him into his remains, seeing as though she just peeled the skin right off his body, which is pretty... In which Wolverine rightfully berates Deadpool for getting Johnny killed when he could have helped him out. And in a scuffle that they have with Goliath, a giant cloud void monster that just consumes souls in the void, starts coming by to wreak some havoc. In the commotion, somehow Wolverine gets a rocket boot to start functioning so that way they can have a botched escape, he and Deadpool, which I didn't even know that was a sentinel leg until I saw someone point it out, and I was like, oh wow, that was cool. I just thought that was just some random rocket, even though that is just a random rocket there. So naturally they fly away far enough for them to be far away from all the villains, in which they start walking out, and soon enough they encounter an unlikely ally in the form of two Deadpool variants, Nice Pool and Dogpool, who are both great characters to the mythos, and they have such a fun little chemistry building scene, while with Nice Pool giving them the chance to go find the hideout of some freedom fighters that are also in the void, which then leads to some crazy shenanigans as Hugh Jackman drops a really great speech which completely destroys Deadpool in the story when a truth is revealed, which then leads into a really crazy fight scene inside of the car, which is pretty impressive too. Even though I've seen some memes of a different reaction to the fight scene, but it's still pretty cool nevertheless. And yes, it's understandable that some people don't like this scene because it slows down the pacing a lot, but the fight is still pretty cool and the speech is still really great too. But since they continuously fight throughout the whole day in the car, they knock each other out at night and get taken away to the hideout by one of these freedom fighters, in which once they wake up the next day, we get introduced to the best cameo scene in the entire movie, as we see all these freedom fighters come on out with some really great music to introduce them for everyone to go, oh my god, it's them, it's them, it's them. And the first person to show up is Jennifer Gardner Elektra, who still looks so pretty and so beautiful. She hardly ages and she looks so great, and it's so good to see her back in the role of Elektra. And especially since she's like one of the most like well-known and famous fictional characters to use size as her main weapon. It's so cool. So underrated. Size are so cool. But yeah, definitely seeing Jennifer Garner come out and like be the one to start introducing this team of cameos. Oh, it's so cool. Definitely cool that she managed to come back. And although some of these cameos weren't too much of a surprise, it's still super awesome that they actually showed up. Like Jennifer Garner actually showing up as Elektra was pretty awesome. And I definitely did say the same things for the next couple members, especially Wesley Snipes Blade, who this is the most surprising cameo for me, seeing as though I thought Wesley Snipes would be the kind of actor that wouldn't want to come back to do anything like this. So definitely seeing him back as Blade was super awesome, super surprising. I was definitely shocked in the theater when I saw him walk out. I was more mind blown seeing him than the next cameo. Not to say that the next cameo wasn't exciting enough, but yeah, seeing Wesley Snipes back as Blade, super hilarious, super cool. I only say super hilarious because when I saw this the second time with my dad and my brother, my dad said, what is this, Expendables? But yeah, it was super awesome to see him back, and I get the clamor for wanting him to come back as Blade and to cancel the reboot, but come on you guys. These legacy characters and actors, you have to use them sparingly, otherwise you lose the magic of having the nostalgia. Just wait until Secret Wars and then bring everyone back in. We still need to give Mahershala Ali a chance at Blade, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna work, you know, once we eventually get a script. But with that out of the way, let's continue on with the next cameo. Channing Tatum's Gambit, which it was so cool, and it's like you can definitely tell that they filmed it so then that way he basically had like two scenes, one with the card reveal and then his actual reveal, which is so incredibly cool that everyone just started clamoring for him. it's honestly the best thing since he never got his chance to shine as Gambit, seeing as though his movie was up in the air for so many years until it got canned completely. So seeing him finally get the chance to be Gambit was just so incredible. It was like one of the greatest toppings on this cake that is Deadpool and Wolverine. Whether or not you say it's a good one or a bad cake, but you definitely can't say that seeing Gambit here with Channing Tatum playing as him, so good, so incredibly great that he got the chance to finally become Remy LeBeau. Plus, we all love the accent, and I saw a meme that it's the new "My Name Jeff" meme, and it was Channing Tatum too. So full circle moment right there, or I guess you could say a full deck of cards. Sorry, I don't know my card jokes. It's name drop that we could have had Daredevil and Punisher show up as well, but they unfortunately died already in this continuity along with Quicksilver and Magneto. But when I heard about Punisher and Daredevil, I was like, oh no, that's a reference that they both died in an alternate universe. I'm looking at you, Old Man Logan comic. It's greedy of me to say, but rightfully so, that it would have been nice to see even more cameo characters, to have like a bigger, larger team. Like, especially since it would have been cool if we were able to have a classic variant of Colossus and even Ghost Rider too. I'm sure Nick Cage would be... Ew, that was a terrible impression. I'm sure he would be down for it. But yeah, it would have, as much as it would have been cool to see Colossus and especially Ghost Rider, my girlfriend did point out a really strong argument that had Ghost Rider been into the story, he's too strong for the plot, seeing as though as soon as they show up to the enemy base, if he uses his penance stare on anyone, especially Cassandra Nova, boom, movie's done. That's it. Game over. So I guess in a sense it's cool that he wasn't there? Question mark? The last member of the team is someone who Deadpool has been talking to Wolverine about earlier in the movie, who turns out to be Laura X-23 from Logan, which is pretty cool. Not only to see Daphne Keane come back to play X-23 later in both the character and the actor's lives, but for us to have one extra moment and conversation between a grown-up Laura and Wolverine again, even though it's not her own. And I understand the difference in opinions on the conversation that they share, whether or not some people say that it's really awesome and really great that they talk to each other, and for Laura to give Logan the inspirational speech of like, you can be the same as my Wolverine or as my dad. But I do get the other side of the conversation where someone brought up a really good idea that it should have been Laura being like, I'm not going to say what everyone else has been saying. I know that you're different and that makes you you, but you should learn to aspire to be a hero too in your own sense. Both are really good ideas, but the fact that we got these two characters back together on screen was pretty great. And especially when those final last pieces of dialogue between them are so good. You should watch it yourself because they're really great stuff. Thus, with the team assembled, they storm the castle per se and start to have one final fight between all the heroes and all the villains, with some pretty great music and some pretty shaky camera work as well to show the impact and all the craziness of the fight. Which, we have some pretty interesting matchups, well, with all of our named characters fighting each other, and some pretty, like, interesting picks too, like Blade versus Azazel, Gambit versus Toad, and stuff like that, and especially Laura versus Juggernaut, which was a pretty cool fight, which would have been cool to see the whole fight, but at least we got what we got on screen. Now, although I could have had some more Lego botched gameplay videos and clips to resemble what's going on in the plot of the movie, I unfortunately don't have any more that would give the rest of the movie justice, so here's some clips of our cameo characters doing some fighting, while I explain the rest of the movie, in which they managed to get to Cassandra Nova, managed to stop her powers with Juggernaut's helmet, and after a few shenanigans of whether or not to let her live or die, they're left with an ultimatum. Either stay in the void or jump through a portal, a universal portal that she opened up to escape to freedom, back into Deadpool's universe. Which is a big sad moment, seeing as though Alioth comes in to just annihilate and eat everyone except for Cassandra and Pyro, seeing as though they were on the upper level where Alioth was annihilating everyone at the bottom, which was a devastatingly solemn moment, seeing as though the heroes just beat all the villains. And thankfully, before they got seemingly consumed by Alioth, they manage to see that their mission was a success as they see Deadpool and Wolverine leave the void. After that, Deadpool and Wolverine are stopped by the Deadpool Corps, which is just a whole series of Deadpool variants from all different universes who came to stop Deadpool and Wolverine from stopping Cassandra Nova's plan to use the device that Mr. Paradox was gonna build, and instead of using it to destroy universe, she's planning to destroy all the universes. Also, yeah, she escaped the void thanks to her little slingering thing, and she captured Mr. Paradox as well. So while Deadpool and Wolverine have an awesome cool little fight scene with all the Deadpool cores, Peter, who is now Deadpool's new bestie, comes in to calm all the Deadpool cores since they find him to be the best person in all the cosmos, seeing as though they all have a Peter. And I guess Peter is now a canon event for all Deadpools to be a best friend, but who could blame him? He is a really sweet guy. But yes, once we can get to the third act, Mr. Paradox tells the heroes what they have to do in order to stop Cassandra Nova from using the machine, the Time Ripper, that's the name of it, before she can use it to destroy all the cosmos. And in order to do so, one of them has to self-sacrifice themselves to destroy the antimatter and matter canisters that fuels the machine. So naturally, our heroes have a back and forth whether or not who's gonna do it, in which Wolverine begs Deadpool to let him do it, seeing as though he wants this. And Deadpool tricks him into thinking that he was gonna let him do it, but then Deadpool wants to save everyone. So he is the sacrificial pawn that he wants to save the universe from destruction. But since he can't reach the other set of wires, Wolverine manages to bust through the door and grab hold of him. So that way they can both have a connection between both of the canisters to destroy Cassandra Nova and the Time Ripper. And of course, we get a really, really great scene between the two of them. And we get a good fan service shot of Hugh Jackman showing off his body, because that man is really a huge jacked man. And thusly, when it's seemingly the end of the movie, what with Cassandra Nova and the Time Ripper blown up as well as our heroes, the TVA lady, I'm so sorry for forgetting your name, comes in to arrest Mr. Paradox. And after they debrief, they suddenly find out that Deadpool and Wolverine did in fact survive, well, with the power of bromance and the will to save universes. And so then the lady says that they're all free to go after Peter Poole comes in to keep everyone at ease. And with Deadpool wishing for some things to be fixed, the TVA lady agrees to all that and lets Wolverine not have his universe be restored, but for him to be allowed to live in this new universe. So as the movie slowly comes to an end, we see that Deadpool, all of his friends, new and old, and his family come all together to celebrate the conclusion and, I guess, victory that they earned to wrap up this movie as a happily ever after. Which, oh boy, this movie was just really great, with just all these little moments and stuff, and it's back and forth of family matters and all these other things. And it was just really great, especially the way that this is a conclusion to the Fox X-Men universe, especially, and not just the X-Men universe, but all the Marvel movies that Fox had in the 2000s was just encapsulated by the tribute that was at the end during the credits. It was so beautiful and such a great movie to watch. And thusly, with the recap over, let's wrap up this video too with my final review and thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. Darn it, I went through the whole video without wearing the mask on? Oh, so shameful. At least I remembered it during the X-Men video and stuff. And huh? Hey, what is that thing? Hey, how's it going? Whoa, who are you? Well, I'm you from a different universe, duh. We're talking multiverse, right? Also, you can take the suit off. The bit's over now. I guess you're right. I'll do that then. So, what brings you here? Also, what's with the slingshot? Don't ask. But let's just say that I'm here to represent all the negative thoughts that you had on the movie, while you can cover all the positive thoughts. Okay, I guess. Seems fair. So yeah, I guess it's time for my final thoughts on the movie. But I'll let JC go first. Thanks, dude. So anyway, yeah, in terms of negative reviews, there's definitely a lot that, just like No Way Home, if you think about every single little plot thread long enough, you start to realize that the continuity of its own story starts to fall apart the more you start to pick at it. Since if you start really looking at pieces individually and you ask yourselves, how is this the continuation from the stories of everything that's come from before, especially 1 and 2, the first and second Deadpool movies, and the whole Wolverine timeline and everything that the multiverse opens up, all these questions honestly causes some problems and issues, which is a reason why a lot of people don't like it. Not only that, but some of the jokes feel stale or disrespectful to the legacy that it's trying to pay homage to, which is completely understandable. A lot of people take it to heart and a lot of people are negative in that respect, but although I can't quite agree with their aggressively negative hatred on the movie, some of their points are valid in that sense. So it only makes sense that this movie isn't for everyone. It's really great to look at and see, as long as you don't nitpick every single little thing. Granted, it's fair to say that this isn't your favorite Deadpool movie compared to the other two, but it goes to show that they still showed maximum effort in trying to make this as great as they could with whatever resources they had. And yes, there's a whole lot of lost and untapped potential that they could have put in this movie, especially a completely different story. That's not to say that this movie didn't have its little bits and pieces there that you can find of some merit. But with that, I believe that's all of the negative thoughts that I had. So I'll pass it on back to CJ. Why, thank you. But yeah, when it comes to all the positive thoughts that I have, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this movie. Plus, it's like I never take the nostalgia goggles off, so seeing all these legacy characters come back and make so many references, there are a ton of references. Even references that I was sitting in the theater, like watching, like, was that an intended reference or not? Like, having Bye 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 from NSYNC be the... Why did I say it like that? NSYNC. Yeah. By having that song, I honestly thought, like, was that an intended reference back to X2, X-Men United, when in that scene when Pyro, of all people, was just after Pyro, Iceman, Rogue, and Wolverine escaped the mansion from Stryker's men, and they took Cyclops' car, and Wolverine dropped a heavy truth on them with some awkward pause afterwards. Pyro, of all people, was like, I can't stand awkward silences, turns on the radio, and that's the song that pops up, and they all cringe. I was like, was that the intended reference, or was it just because of the formality of, like, saying bye to something that's you cannot let go? Whether or not that's true, you can apply that to a lot of things that were in this movie. There's so many like little gags and jokes that you laugh. Yes, I do have a tough time trying to decide like a ranking system when it comes to all three of the Deadpool movies, but even if this is still my third least favorite, that doesn't mean that I don't like it at all, because I really do love it. And I, per se, understand all the negative thoughts that a lot of people have, including myself, but honestly, I still like what they did with the characters. Like, yeah, some things can have been improved, but from what we got, it was still pretty great to see everyone together. Even if there's still lots of room for improvement, I still very much loved what they did. And it was just so amazing, and it just encapsulates basically everything that was fun about the whole Fox Marvel universe back in the 2000s, which my age group practically grew up on that stuff. So it was really awesome to see the movie with people that you can bond with that definitely went through that childhood too. So I definitely recommend that everyone watch the movie. Whether or not you're gonna like it or not, that's up to you, but you should definitely give it a watch, seeing as though it looks great and it's a pretty great experience too. It's a nice little 2 hours or almost 3 hours of relaxation, where it's like, it's a flip of the coin whether or not you'll like it or not, but I sure did. And I love it, and I love that a lot of people are giving it its love as well, all over the internet. And it's just so great to just see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman put this together, and then for Ryan and all the other creative teams to bring everyone in together and make it what it came out to be. That was honestly super, super great. But yeah, I think that's all of my positive thoughts. And thusly, that brings this little segment to an end, I believe. And thusly, the video comes to an end too. And thank you very much for just randomly popping up out of nowhere, JC. Sure thing, dude. This was honestly less cringe than I thought it would be. Still kind of cringe though. So when am I gonna see you next time? During the next crossover special, but that's if the creator god isn't too lazy enough to actually do it. The what? Hey everyone, CJ again. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and share with friends to keep the buzz going with the video. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and checking out some of my other content here too. For your help is very much appreciated, and never forget that you're awesome. Plus, there's going to be super special stuff coming soon at the end of August and heading into the fall of this year. But until then, hope you all continue to have a great day, and I'll catch you guys next time, especially for the next video, whatever it shall be. Plus, leave all your opinions, comments, and everything else down in the comment section down below, for I'd definitely love to give it a read. And especially on your thoughts and opinions on Deadpool and Wolverine and the future of Marvel. But with that, catch you all next time. Bye-bye for now.